This is the ResMed S9 Series CPAP machines. The S9 series is comprised of 4 machines, the Escape, Escape Auto, Elite, and AutoSet machines. So today we're going to take a detailed look at these machines and how they function. Let's start off by taking a look at some of the physical features of the S9 series. You'll notice the machine comes in 2 parts. There's the actual CPAP machine and the H5i humidifier that goes with the S9 series. To connect those together, simply slide the 2 pieces together and you'll hear it click into place. On the humidifier, you'll notice there's a little silver slide over here on the side. If you slide that towards the outside, that will release the hatch of the lid here. Inside is the water chamber. Now the machine comes with just the standard chamber that does not come apart. There is an optional chamber that you can buy that actually unlatches and comes apart, which makes it a little bit easier for cleaning. Also, that optional chamber is dishwasher safe. To fill these, there's a little opening in the top. That's where you'll fill it. Inside there's a yellow tab that just shows you how full to fill that water up to. Also on the top corner there's a little opening for actually draining the water out, so you can use that to drain any water that's out if you're trying to empty it. Basically, to put it back in, it just slides into place, and then just make sure when you close that lid that it snaps in all the way. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the features that are on the back side of the machine as well. On this side here we have the cover for the filters. To take that cover off, there's just a little tab that you'll push on the bottom and it will release that. Inside it has these little white filters. Now it is recommended to change these about every 6 months or so. When you want to put it back in, you actually want to put it back into the cover first, and the cover has these 2 little tabs that will need to be inserted back into the machine first. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll simply slide that back in, and you should hear it kind of click back into place to lock it in. Above that it has the memory card. Simply push and click to release that. It just uses the standard SD style card, and to put that back in, just slide it back in until you hear it click and lock into place. Now next to that is the port for the oximetry adapter. Now this is one of the only machines on the market right now that actually can record oximetry data onto the machine and memory card. Not all the machines have that capability. You'll only get that with the Elite and AutoSet versions of the S9 series. And next to that we have the port for the power plug-in. On the H5i humidifier, right here is the little button that if you push that, it will actually release the 2 pieces of the machine to take them apart. And then we have the tubing adapter, and below that is the port for the S9 Climate Line optional tubing that you can use with this machine. Let's take a look at the different tubings that can be used with the S9 series. Now the S9 series uses what's called the slimline tubing, which is just a little bit thinner in diameter than most standard CPAP tubings. So over here we have just the standard slimline tubing, which is thinner but has no other real features with it. It's just like the older ones. And here we have the climate line tubing, which is also a slimline tubing. It is a little bit thinner, but it adds in a heated coil, and then in one of the ends it actually has a humidity sensor that allows the machine to detect how much moisture is actually coming through to the end of the tubing. Let's go ahead and take a look at how the climate line tubing attaches to the machine, because it is a little bit different than how the other tubings attach. Now you notice on one end of the climate line tubing it has the orange adapter. To attach it, you'll actually need to come here and take off this little rubber cover that's right below the tubing adapter, and that's just the port for the climate line. So you'll go ahead and take that and you'll just slide it on, and then you'll just have to twist that tubing and you'll hear it kind of lock into place as it just snaps in, and that will enable the climate line to get power from the machine. To take it off, you just twist it back the other way. There's no button or lever that you have to push to release that, and it will just pull right off. Let's go ahead and take a look at the controls of this machine. The S9 series features a nice color LCD screen, and the controls are a lot different from the S8 series. It has this little turn dial that's going to be used to navigate through most of the menus. Next to that are two silver buttons, and over here on this side is the start and stop button. Let's go ahead and take an up-close look at the screen and how to navigate through the menus. On the side of the screen, you'll see little menu icons that will appear here, and you'll just use this turn dial to navigate through those different options. So let's go ahead and start with the home screen. Now, when you're on the home screen, it will enable these two buttons. There's the info and setup. So let's go ahead and press info. Now this will show you the sleep quality report for the previous night, which just shows you how many hours you used the machine. If you turn the knob down, it goes to the full sleep report. If you just click that once, you can go into those options. For example, right now the period is showing for 1 month. You can actually change that to a number of different options. Usually 1 month is a little more useful to look at though. So you just go ahead and click that to save the change. In this menu, it's going to show you the days you've used the machine for more than 4 hours, your average usage, total used hours, and then down below you'll see it has the back and home button. So if we go ahead and go down to back, it will just go back to these side menus. Down below it just has the service, just shows the model number of the machine. That's all it's going to ever show you. So let's go ahead and go back here. Now when you're on this screen, if you want to go back to the home screen, just push the info button again and that will take you back. If you click on the setup button, it gives you a few options here. You can change what type of tube you're using. For example, if you're using the tubes that are specifically made for the S9, you'll just have that say slimline. You can also change it to say standard, and that would be if you were using an old type of tubing, not one of the slimline tubings. So we'll go ahead and change that back. Below that, it has the mask option where you just change which type of mask you're using. And one feature that this machine has is the mask fit. Now what this does is it allows you to see if your mask is fitting okay or not. So for example, if I click that, it's going to start putting out air through the machine. Now if the mask is fitting okay, it will just show you that good with the smiley face. If it starts to leak, it will just tell you to adjust. And to turn that off, you can go ahead and push that button again. Now let's go ahead and go back to the home screen, so you can either go down to home and click that or press that setup button. Now the next menu is the humidity level. Now this is going to show up a couple of different ways depending on which type of tubing you're using. If you're using the standard tubing, you're just going to come up with the humidity level, and you can change that just between off and all the way up to 6. So it just lets you adjust that. Now for example, if I click in the climate line tubing, so I'll go ahead and do that, it will tell you that it is enabled. And now you'll notice this menu is going to say climate control, and you actually set a temperature for the tubing. So it goes anywhere from 86 degrees all the way down to 60 and then off. So we'll go ahead and just leave that up at 80 degrees for now. Put that back. Another thing, when you're on this screen, if you hold down the little turn dial, you show down there for 3 seconds, it does what's called the warm up. So you can hold that down and it will just start heating the humidifier. Now it didn't turn on the air at all, but it just started to warm up that humidifier. And then just push it again. Let's see. Just hold that down again to turn it off. And it will just say cooling down. The next option is the ramp. Now what the ramp feature does is it actually starts the machine off at a low pressure when you first turn it on, and then over that time period that's specified on the screen, it will just start slowly increasing until it gets to your prescribed pressure. So you can turn that all the way off, or you can go all the way up to 45 minutes, and it is recommended to set that to about how long it takes you to fall asleep is all that you need with that. Now, if you come back to the home screen, there is an optional way to get into the mask fit. From the home screen, you can actually just hold down the little center button there for about 3 seconds, and that will also start the mask fit. And and then you just click that again to turn it off. Now, one of the other things that the machine has capabilities to do is actually show you a kind of advanced report. Now, to get into that, what you're going to do is you're going to hold down these two silver buttons together. So if I go ahead and hold those down, it will come up with a just advanced sleep quality report. So it's going to show you first over the last night your usage hours, your mask fit, whether it was good or bad, and then it also shows you your AHI index there at the bottom. If you navigate through these menus on the side, it's going to show you a full sleep report. If you click in here, you can also change the time period that it's showing, and it just shows you a lot of the same information, but it adds in things like the pressure and the leak, and AHI, total AI, central AI, and then the total hours that the machine has been run. And then if you go ahead and hit that back, down below, this just shows you a quick view of the settings. So for example, we have the machine in auto set, max pressure, min pressure, just shows you some of those advanced things. The start pressure, EPR, so if we go and click in here, we can scroll down and see everything. The mask, climate control, a couple different things that we set in the clinical menu. And then it just has the service menu again that shows you the model number. Also, let's take a look at some of the advanced features of the S9 series. To access the clinical menu on this machine, there's two buttons that you have to hold down together, the silver turn dial button and the double check mark button. So if you go ahead and hold both those buttons down for about 3 to 5 seconds, it will come up with the clinical menu. Now over here it's going to have these little menu icons. Let's go ahead and start with settings. So here, because we're using an auto set, this machine can actually run in auto set or CPAP mode. So if you were going to change that, you can do so right there. It's going to show you the maximum pressure, minimum pressure, maximum ramp time, the start pressure. Now that's for when you're using the ramp. Just shows you what pressure that's going to start at. Now if we come down here, it has the EPR. That just stands for expiratory pressure relief. What that does is when you actually breathe out, it's going to lower down the pressure just a little bit to make it feel a little more natural when you're breathing out. So here you can change that between ramp only, off, or full time, which just means it's going to do that throughout the whole night. So we'll go ahead and leave that at full. It has the EPR level. It has settings either 3, 2, 1, or off. So basically 3 is the easiest to breathe out against. Now you notice here if you go 1 more, it goes to patient. And what that does is back in the home screen, if you go into settings, you'll actually see those options to be able to change between the 3, 2, or 1. So we'll go ahead and leave that on. Down below you can change the mask. And then it just has the back and home button. So I'm going to go ahead and go back. Let's go down to the options menu. Click in here. Now the climate control, that's dealing with the humidifier. There's a couple different modes that you can put that at. So there's the auto mode, which just means that the humidifier is going to self-regulate a little bit. It has the capability to actually turn itself down if there's too much moisture. So if you put it in auto mode, it will allow it to do that. There is a manual mode, and that basically allows you to not only adjust the humidity level, but to adjust the tube temperature as well. So it kind of lets you adjust both. And then if you turn it to patient, that just means you will have the option to change that from the home setup menu. So let's go ahead and leave that there so you can see that when we exit out. Just shows the sleep quality. You can show it as usage or you can turn it on. It just shows a little more advanced information. The machine has a smart start feature, which just means when you actually put your mask on and breathe into it, it has a little trigger and that will allow it to turn on the machine. When you take the mask off, it's going to turn off as well. So let's go ahead and you can turn that on, and then it has the date and time below here. If we come down here and go back, there is a reminders menu. Now what this does is the machine can actually remind you to change different things on the machine. For example, the filters. That's usually the most important thing to set here. So if we come down here and we go to filter, you just set a date. So we set this out about 6 months from now. So you'll click that, and then you'll notice here it says recur. It just means that that message will automatically reset every 6 months from that point, and so every 6 months it will remind you to change the filters. There are a few other things you can set in here, but really the filter is the most important. Now if we come down to back, the bottom menu is the configuration, so you can change the language, you can erase the data on the machine, change how the units are measured. For example, normally they're measured in centimeters, you can change it to liters, also with the temperature. So it just has a couple features here and there. So let's go ahead and exit out. You can just hit that bottom button, and we'll go back to the home screen because I want to show you some of those things we changed. So now if we go into setup, you can change the EPR level right there, and also the climate control. So for example, if I turn that to manual and save that and go back, now you'll notice it added another icon, so you can actually adjust the humidity level, which is how much humidity is actually going to be coming out of the machine. So for example, if you put that at a higher number, you're going to get more moisture out of it. And then now you can also just set how warm the climate control tubing is heating up to. Now if it's not attached, it won't show you that option. Now you will see a few differences on the menu if you have the machine in CPAP mode, so let's go ahead and look at that. So if we turn it to CPAP mode, it will just show you the set pressure to set the pressure of the machine, but also it allows you to actually change the starting pressure for the ramp. In auto set mode, it doesn't allow you to do that, so you can actually specify where you want the machine to start when you first turn it on when you're using ramp. So you can adjust that there. Everything else in the menu will be the same, but if we come down to options, the only difference here is it gives you the EPR inhale. Now this is just setting the trigger for the EPR, just basically how quickly it brings back the pressure when you start to breathe back in. So it just has medium or fast. So if you breathe a little bit quicker and you don't feel like that pressure is coming back right away, switch that to fast, and that will help just bring the trigger a little bit quicker. Other than that, it's going to be the same in the options menu, reminders, and configuration menu. There are a couple other features of the S9 series that are worth noting. When you first turn off the machine in the morning, the machine will actually keep putting out just a little bit of air, and that's designed to dry out the tubing so you don't get any moisture buildup in there. After a certain period of time, when that finishes, it will automatically power down the machine. If you'd like to power it down sooner, you can go ahead and hold down the start and stop button for about 3 to 5 seconds, and that will also power down the machine. It is recommended to let the machine run its cycle and power down automatically. Also, not all of the S9 series machines are fully data capable. All of them will show usage information, but to get the advanced data, you are going to have to upgrade to the Elite or AutoSet version. So it is important to consult with your local supplier, or you can also visit resmed.com for more information on the specifications of this machine.